Do you ever log into Xero and think, am I even looking at the right things? Whether you're a business owner, doing your own bookkeeping, or working with an accountant, there are 5 quick checks you should be doing in Xero every month to stay on top of your finances and avoid nasty surprises later on. In this video, I'll show you exactly what those 5 checks are and how to do them fast. And I'll also share one bonus tip for you at the end that keeps your books squeaky clean all year long. Hi, I am Ray Armand, a chartered accountant and founder of Xero Hero. I help small business owners master Xero Accounting Software so that you can make better business decisions and keep HMRC happy without spending all weekend buried in paperwork. Hit subscribe if you want to hear more practical Xero tips every week. So what we are going to do now is we are going to jump into Xero and I'm going to run you through the 5 checks that I recommend any business owner or even a bookkeeper, if you're doing bookkeeping for clients, should be doing every single month as a quick check to see that your Xero is in top form. So here we are in the demo company, and let's run through each of those 5 checks that I said we need to do. So the first one, fairly obvious, but actually it's the most important, is going to check that each of your bank accounts are fully reconciled. Because if you do not do this, then the information you look at in any of the reports in Xero will not be correct. They will be missing information. So you could be like, wow, we've been amazingly profitable, but actually there was £3,000 of expenses that you haven't reconciled in your bank for the month, okay? So you don't want to be looking at any reports in Xero until your bank is reconciled. And if you have multiple bank accounts connected up in Xero, i.e. some people have like 5, 6, 7, make sure you are checking the full list. Scroll right to the bottom here and check that every single bank that is connected up in Xero that you are using has the bank transactions reconciled. So now, if I take an example, if we're sitting on the 7th of October, I'm not worried about any transactions in October. I'm only worried about getting those transactions reconciled up to the end of September so I can run reports for September and see how the business is doing. So as you go into the bank and you go to this reconcile tab, don't obsess over any transactions that are from the last few days, the most recent month. The focus should be getting the transactions up to the end of the period for which you want to look at your report. So we're early in October, so I would want to look at everything up to the end of September. So I would really hone in on reconciling all these transactions that you see here in August, September, etc., up to the 30th of September. Get those reconciled. Okay, so make sure all transactions up to the month end are matched. And that is because, kind of like I said, your reports will be wrong, your VAT will be wrong, your cash flow forecast, anything that you use relying on numbers in Xero will be wrong unless your bank is reconciled. Okay, so if there's one thing you do every month, make it this one. Now, once you've made sure that your banks, all your bank accounts are reconciled up to the end of the month, you can now jump into check number 2, and that is reviewing your aged receivables and your aged payables to just check where you are standing with your customers and suppliers. I always promise no accounting jargon, and if I do bring in accounting jargon, explain it. So what is aged payables and aged receivables? Okay, let's start with aged receivables. Aged receivables is just honing in on your customers and saying, or having a look at, who owes you money and how overdue is that. So depending on your business and how your sales look, there's sort of 2 main areas that you could look in Xero to achieve this. Option number 1 is going into your sales menu here and going to invoices and going to the awaiting payment tab. So these are your total receivables. So receivables is just another word for a debtor, which is another word for saying any customer that you have sold a good or service to, send them an invoice and they have not yet paid their invoice. Okay, so it's money that is due to the business from customers. And this is a great screen to come to: sales and then invoices awaiting payment, and you can sort this by due date, sort by customer name. You can play around. You can drill down into invoices and you can see who owes you money. Now, this works for businesses who have a small number of clients, and you can see on one screen exactly where you stand. If you find that your number of clients is large that owe you money and this screen is just too busy, then there is a dedicated report in Xero called your aged receivables summary. So we'll go to reporting, and in fact, as standard, Xero tends to star it as a favorite because it is a report that you should be looking at regularly as a business owner. So if we click in here, we can see it. If you do not, while that loads, if you do not see the aged receivables summary report here in this menu, if you go to all reports and you scroll down to payables and receivables, there you will see your age payable detail and your age payable summary. So you want to star that. I recommend, if you haven't run these before, run both reports, see which layout works the best for your business. Do you want more detail or do you prefer a bit more of a summary? And star that one. When you star it as a favorite, it then appears on this drop down for quick access. Okay, this is what your age receivables summary shows you. It shows you a list of clients who owe you money, the total of what they owe you, and then it ages them. That's where the word age comes from. It says which of this money that you are owed is due in the last month, which is more than a month old, more than 2 months old, 3 months, etc. Okay, so this allows you to really hone in on those customers that are far overdue, and you can then phone them and have those conversations with them. Or possibly it's a sign that your bookkeeping's a mess, and because you might say, well, I know those customers don't owe me, and in that case you need a bit of bookkeeping cleanup, and you need to go and apply credit notes or fix payment allocations to mark these as paid because you know the customers don't owe you. The key thing being that this, which is check number 2 on my list of 5, is a key check you need to do to make sure that your bookkeeping is accurate and up to date. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be chasing customers for payments if it's not correct. So it's a very important menu. It's a very important report to run once a month and have a quick look at. And the more you're on top of this, the quicker this report will be. So that in future months, it's literally a 1-minute glance over and you're happy with the numbers. Okay, so this is check number 2. So in line with this, also under check number 2 are my recommended 5 things that a business owner or bookkeeper should look at every month. There's 2 parts to check number 2, is to also look at the same report on the supplier side. Okay, so kind of like I said with customers, there's 2 main areas in Xero you can look at this, and depending on how busy your Xero is, if it's quite quiet, your Xero, you can just go straight to the purchases menu, go to bills, and on the awaiting payment tab, you can have a look at exactly who needs to pay you money. Okay, so if this is fitting on a page or 2, you might find that you like working in this screen. If you need more of a high level summary, you'll come here to reporting and go to your age payables and run that report. If it's not showing, you follow those steps that I showed you to go to all reports and favorite the report so that it is showing for future reference. Okay. This report is defaulting to the end of October. As recording of this video, I'm sitting on the 7th of October. So it does default to, in essence, to today's date. You can run it to end of last month if you want, but it probably makes most sense to look at this report as of today. Okay, so you can leave it like that. And just like I showed you with the customers, it's going to take everything that you owe your suppliers here, and it's going to summarize it into what exactly you owe your suppliers and how old it is. So you might want to focus on those older ones. Do you need to quickly pay those suppliers? Or is there an issue with your bookkeeping in terms of credit note allocations, or something's gone wrong because you know, for example, that you've paid central copiers, so why is it still showing? Okay, so it's your opportunity to do a bit of a cleanup. Are there any staff expense claims that need to be paid, etc.? So again, if you're on top of your bookkeeping, these are quick 30, 60-second checks to see that you are on top of everything in your Xero. So check number 1 was reconciling your bank. Check number 2 was running your aged payables and aged receivables to see where you stand with your customers and suppliers. Check number 3 now is to run your profit and loss report. So let me close these extra tabs and show you here. Go back to our dashboard, because that's always the best starting place. And what we do to run our profit and loss report, check number 3, is we go to reporting and you go to profit and loss. And as I showed you a moment ago, if your profit and loss report is not showing on this list, go to all reports, look for it, and star it. So you should have these 5 things that I'm showing you on quick access menus so that you can run them very quickly and easily each month. So check number 3 is to run your profit and loss reports. And the best view of this report is a month-by-month comparison. This view here is showing you for the full financial year. So this report defaults to the financial year. My favorite view of this report is to go this month or last month, actually, is my favorite way to look at it, a full month, and compare it to 3 or 4 months and hit the update button, and you get a side-by-side comparison of how your business has performed the last few months. And this allows you to identify trends. Is revenue trending upwards or downwards? Are expenses creeping? It helps you to spot leaks early before they turn into surprises. So this is a very powerful report to look at, and wherever you see blue text, you can drill down into more detail. So that's check number 3. Check number 4 is for those VAT registered businesses. If you are a VAT registered business, what you then want to do for check number 4 is come here to tax and go to your VAT returns. Now, what you will see on the screen is a bit different to what you will see on your VAT return screen, because this is a demo company and it's not connected to HMRC. Okay, so you will see previously filed returns, which is the same as what we've got here, but you will have a slightly different view up here. The key thing that I want you to do, though, is up here where it's showing you your current VAT period that you're sitting in, click into that. Okay, so you click into that here. It'll be somewhere here where your Xero is connected up to HMRC. And the screen it takes you to will look similar to this. Okay, so this is for check number 4. And I want you to look at what is the total amount of VAT that has built up that you will need to pay HMRC at the end of this VAT period. And my recommendation is to have a separate savings account or pot of money where you put that aside each month so that it's ready to pay HMRC when the VAT return comes to, like the VAT return deadline comes, okay? So have that money put aside. You can also use this as an opportunity once a month to check how's your bookkeeping looking? Does it make sense what transactions have been coded to? So what you can do is jump into this transactions by VAT box or transactions by tax rate menu or like your tab option here and run through things. Does it make sense that all your sales are standard rated at 20%? Or do you expect to see some reduced rated or 0 rated sales? So you're looking out, you're not going through every transaction, but you're looking through here and saying, does it make sense? You can also export this to Excel and then play around with Excel color coding, which is very useful. And if you want a full walkthrough on the check that I recommend every business does before they submit a VAT return, then I will pop at the end of this video and in the comments below a link to my VAT return video that does a full walkthrough of everything you need to do before submitting a VAT return. But as a quick monthly check, check number 4, have a look at your VAT return. Are your transactions looking like they're coded correctly by looking at this tab here? And should you be putting some of the money aside ready to pay your VAT bill? So that's check number 4. Check number 5, cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. Okay, why did I include this? Because a lack of cash flow is the number one reason why businesses in the UK fail, and we do not want you to fail. Okay, so I want to encourage you to begin to do a bit of cash flow forecasting. Xero's built in some cool cash flow forecasting tools. They've also recently acquired a piece of software called Sift Analytics, which does some cool cash flow forecasting. What you are basically looking at is you are looking at today's bank balance. What bills do you need to pay to suppliers? What money are you expecting from customers? And will you have enough cash in the bank to pay your staff, to pay your month-end expenses? Okay, so do some work at looking at what's happened in your business. If you want to understand your cash flow historically in reporting here, you can go to all reports and you can run a cash summary report. Otherwise, if you want to look forward and do a bit of forecasting, if you go into, I thought they'd put under the accounting menu, but under the reporting menu here, under analytics, you can find the short-term cash flow forecasting tool in Xero. So that's super handy. Have a look at that. And that is where you can get a bit of forward projection of what will your bank balance be. So work on this tool and spend a bit of time, ideally each week, but as a minimum once a month, working with the forecasted numbers here. Do you want to include or exclude certain bills or invoices? What bank accounts do you want to include, etc.? And get an idea of what your bank balance is looking like so that you're not surprised when you suddenly don't have enough money, so that you have forewarning when it doesn't look like you're going to have enough, and you can go and get a loan. You can go and sort something out so that your business does not fall just because you don't have money in the bank when you need to. Okay, and if you are finding this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe. I post weekly Xero tutorials just like this to help you to stay confident and in control of your finances. Now, before I end off this video, I want to give you one bonus tip, okay? And this is a quarterly check that you should be doing in Xero. So we've done our 5. What is one extra check that you should be incorporating on a quarterly basis? That is running your balance sheet in Xero. So if you come here to reporting and you go to balance sheet, once a quarter, you should run this report. So it'll default to the end of last financial year. We want to change it to end of last month and update. And you want to identify any major issues here. So like, why is my computer equipment a negative balance? Because it's got brackets around it. Do I have a loan account? And does the loan balance make sense? Do I have wages payable here that looks like I owe my staff thousands of pounds? Meanwhile, I know I've paid them. So do a quick quarterly check of your balance sheet and make sure that the figures that appear here make sense. Okay, this is particularly useful because it helps you to identify major issues. It helps you to catch any miscodings and also any issues with journal entries that might have been entered. The thing is that as a business owner, your focus is very much the profit and loss, as it should be. But if there is a problem brewing on your balance sheet, so it's building, like a balance is building up here that shouldn't be, when that gets corrected, it will almost certainly have a knock-on effect on your profit and loss. So you don't want a big scary balance to be building up on your balance sheet here that gets fixed at the end of the year and takes you from a profit position to a loss-making position. So it is important to do a quarterly check here. Okay, now, key tip here. I've given you some really, really powerful reports you can begin to look at. I know I've done a light touch on them because I don't have time in a YouTube video to run you through the detail and go through this slower and help you understand everything that I've shown you. So if you're wanting more support and more handholding, join one of my free live training sessions. Okay, and that will take you through this slower and help you to understand some of the detail more. But if you want to just start off today with using these 5 steps that I've told you to do every single month, my recommendation to make sure that they happen is to block the time in your diaries. Okay, you must schedule it in. So go after this video and go and identify 1 hour each month, just 1 hour on like the last working day of the month, and say, this is the day that I sit down and look at those 5 reports in Xero and sit and work through them, because this is how you stay on top of your numbers. So there you have it. 5 things every business owner should check in Xero each month. Quick, simple, and it will keep your books accurate and your accountant very happy, and you happy when you actually have accurate financial information. Okay, thanks for watching, and now you're one step closer towards becoming a true Xero hero.